Hey everybody, Tyrant here with the first VFW, back with another tutorial on WeatherGen, my weather generation tool for Falcon BMS. Today we're going to talk about the forecast features in BMS. So if you have weather, like we do here, and you want to be able to provide like a weather briefing to your pilots, or just in general have the ability to know or to simulate really weather forecasting, it's pretty straightforward. You just scroll down to the forecast section and you can go ahead and let me get focus there. Click on the map. So first of all, I don't know if it's a little hard to see. Let me blow this up. This isn't a forecast. I just want to point it out though that when you hover over a location on the map, it will tell you the current conditions there. So you can see it's telling you where you are. That's grid cell 27. The pressure there, the temperature there, the wind, speed, and direction, the visibility, if there's any precipitation, and then the clouds. Um, but we're not talking about that. That's not the forecast. Just want to mention that since I didn't mention it. I didn't mention it anywhere else in any of the other tutorials. What we're talking about is the forecast. So forecast is here. Notice that there's nothing right now because we haven't said where we want to know the weather. So let's go ahead and click, like, say, here. And when you do that, you'll notice the forecast changes. It says this is the forecast for location 1232, and it's going to say, every hour what the weather is going to be. Now, I should point out this is not perfectly accurate. I've simulated a little bit of uncertainty here. It's generally pretty good. Just like in the real world, we're pretty good at forecasting weather a few hours out, but it's not perfect. You may find that the conditions vary a little bit from the forecast. You got a forecast here for about 6 hours out, so you can see, starting around 0600, we can expect poor weather, and there's a forecast for the other types of things too: visibility, precipitation. The one that might need a tiny bit of explanation is the cloud. Here we've got something that says few at 080 and Cotra at 280. So this is telling us that there will be cumulus clouds under 25%. That's what few means, coverage of the sky, at 8,000 feet. That's flight level 080. Don't worry too much about remembering that, because you can just click. Since cloud has got a blue underline, dotted underline, it means you can click it for help. If we click that, it'll tell us what all of those things mean. You can see that overcast is solid overcast. SCT is scattered, meaning cumulus clouds between 25 and 50% of the sky, and so forth and so on. So just be aware that you can always click the headings there to get more information. In addition to clicking on the map, you can also drop down this drop down, and you could say, for example, tell me what the weather is going to be like at Kunsan. You'll notice that the highlighted square moved on the map to be at Kunsan. Little bit of a tip here: if you click that and then start typing, like if I type OSA, sometimes that's a little bit easier to get me to like Osan Air Base. The one other feature to note here is this shareable forecast link. So WeatherGen, this part of WeatherGen, is meant to be used by the person planning the mission, or at least planning the weather for the mission. It has all sorts of controls. You can look into the future. You can change the weather. And a lot of those things are things that you don't necessarily want your pilots to be able to do. And so what we have is an alternate view. Let me go ahead and click this, and it'll pop up a new browser window. It's the same weather, but notice there are far fewer controls, right? Like, you can change the opacity. You can decide whether you're looking at pressure in millibars or inches. You can do those sorts of things. But there's nowhere in here where I can say, generate different weather or override anything or do anything like that. In fact, I can't even change time past the current time. Now, what does that mean? That current time was the time that the map was at when I clicked that shareable forecast. Like if I go forward again to say 0700, that's actually going to result in a different link, right? Every time you change anything, this becomes a different link, and if we click that, we'll see that now the current Falcon time is, day 1, 0700 hours. So this is the view that you can share with your pilots. In fact, you can just send them this link. I will warn you that link is super long. It does still work. It's fine. It works great, but it is very, very long. One thing you might want to do if it's inconvenient for you to share that link is I'm going to go ahead and copy that, and then you can use a link sharing service. I personally use Google, goo.gl. You can paste the link in there, say shorten URL, and you'll get a nice short link that you can copy, and then you can hand that out to the pilots in your mission if you're flying with somebody else. And when they go there, they will be redirected to your shared weather area, and they can do some of the same things. For example, they can do that same thing where they click on the map and they get the forecast. But again, they're not going to be able to step into the future. They can step back so they can see what the weather was like, since that's realistic. The Met Office would have that available. And you can even click this little play button, which will play the weather in a loop up to the mission time, and then when it gets there, it'll go back 6 hours into the past and repeat, and it'll just play that loop over and over and over again, so that you can kind of get that radar weather type picture. So that's really just me. If there's anything else I wanted to show you about the forecast. No, that's really it. I mean, it's really that simple. You click on a square, you get the forecast, or you can name a location and get the forecast, and you can share the weather with your squad mates or whoever you're flying with. If you have any questions, as always, you can click on this link. That will take you to the BMS forums where WeatherGen is announced and questions are answered. So go there and drop me a question anytime. Be happy to answer that for you. Hope you enjoy using WeatherGen, and thanks for watching.